To get started with this one, we're gonna grab one of my presets to use as a base, and I think I'll go with LO1 for this one. All right, and we have an interesting situation here because our background is quite blown out, but she's quite underexposed. So to address this rather quickly, I'm gonna drop our highlights to bring back the detail in the background, and then lift up the shadows to bring back the detail in her. And then I'll lift up our overall exposure to just round everything out. Next, I'm gonna head into our masking section to create a people mask, and then select facial and the lip skin. And then just head all the way down to the effects section to lower the texture and clarity of that facial mask to just kind of soften out the skin tones. Moving on to our color section, I think I'm going to lower the temperature a little bit to cool the image down and then push its tint a little bit more towards the magentas. I'll then lift up our vibrance a good amount so we can more easily see the dominant colors in the photo and what we're working with. We have a lot of yellow and it's kind of dominating our background, her clothes, the couch she's laying on, and giving them all this kind of nasty color. So in the color mixer, I'm just going to grab our yellows, push their hue a little bit more towards the orange side, and then reduce their saturation quite a bit. Now that that's been taken care of, I'm just going to go back to our color section and lower that vibrance back down. Now her face is looking a little bit too pink, so again, in the color mixer, I'm going to grab our reds and push the hue more towards the oranges, and maybe reduce their saturation just a little bit. Things are also still looking a little bit too dark, so back up in our light section, I'm going to lift up our blacks a good amount. Now to add a little bit of depth with masking, starting with a linear gradient coming up from the bottom left hand side of the photo that I'll just lower the exposure on a little bit, and then to balance that out, I'll create a radial mask coming in from the right hand side that I'll increase the exposure on and decrease the dehaze on. And then the last mask I think I'll create is a subject mask that I'll just increase our contrast on. And I think that's gonna do it for this one. So here's our before and our after.